Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 129th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just before I announce the teams, I'd like to make a small rule change announcement, and that is that, as you might know, the Brotherhood introduced the 31k to Rome Total War approximately 7 to 8 years ago. When we introduced the 31k game, we actually introduced the rules of no artillery, no elephants, 3 berserkers max, 2 horse archers max, and 6 cav max. And the rules have pretty well stayed the same since we introduced them, as I said, 7 or 8 years ago. But what we'd like to do is to introduce a new rule to those rules, and that is that when an army is glitched, all attacks on the battlefield stop. And the simple reason for this is that obviously when an army is glitched, then that player cannot send support or reinforcements to his teammates if they're being attacked. So it is a very unfair disadvantage that his team has. So when an army is glitched, what we're going to say is no all attacking will stop, and that includes no archer fire, and obviously no pilers being thrown. It all comes to a halt until the glitch is fixed. We feel that this is a fair rule to introduce, and we tried it last weekend, and I think we've tried it this week, and most people, I think everybody agrees that it is a fair and reasonable rule to introduce. So that'd be a new rule that we're introducing. When an army is glitched, all attacking on the battlefield will stop until the glitch is fixed. I'm going to say, if you've ever had your army glitch and you've had people deliberately attack you, you know what I mean, how unfair and how unsportsmanlike that is. So that's why we feel that bringing in this rule about glitching armies is only a fair and, as I said, reasonable thing to do. The team I'm in today consists of a Brotherhood member Lion Dwarf, who has bought the Rome Julii faction, and then we have Brotherhood member Killer B. Still got that ancient clan elites on the front of his name, but it is Brotherhood member Killer B, and he has bought the Rome SBQR faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Cormac, and he has bought the Rome Julii faction. And then we have myself, Spartan Commander, who has also bought the Rome Julii faction. So there's our team there, full of experience, but you wait till you see the other team. This should be a really great one for you to watch. And here is that other team. We have Heavens Flank Me, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. Then we have Titans Hades, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. And then we have RTW player Scorpion King SR, and he's bought the Armenia faction. I think you might have seen him bring the Armenia faction in one of my other battle videos, but this is, I think, a different army that he's bought this time. He likes to try Armenia now and again, and I think it's always great to see Armenia on the 31k battlefield. And then their fourth member is Titans Mohammed, who has also bought the Rome Scipii faction. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd just have a quick look at Scorpion King's Armenian army here. Here you can see he's got, I think it's 5 units of foot archers. 1, 2, 3, yeah. And he's got 1 unit of horse archers there. Now, the horse archers are a very fast moving unit, and they can do a lot of damage because they can shoot their arrows at you as they're moving, and with ordinary heavy cavalry you won't be able to catch them, so they're very good. And then we have the Armenian Cataphract Cavalry. If you count the banners above each unit, you'll see that these Cataphract Cavalry are fully upgraded. So these cavalry are not to be messed with, and used properly it could be the decisive cavalry on the battlefield. They're very tough when they're fully upgraded. And then we have the Armenian Legionnaires here, who I think are pretty well upgraded as well. And then you have the Armenian Spearmen there, the heavy spearmen, and they're pretty tough as well. And if you notice, they're fully upgraded as well. So there's Scorp's army there. Looks pretty tough to me. Be interesting to see how that cavalry does. At this very early stage of the battle, just as we've just literally started to play, you can see that Scorpion King is charging his missile archer, horse missile archer unit forward there to start shooting at our units as we're running over to form up. That horse archer unit will be firing there, and it'll be causing casualties as we're running over to try and form up there. Also, if you notice, he's brought his cataphract tank cavalry forward as well. And if you notice that his teammate, I think it's Titan's Mohammed, has brought his army over as well. Very aggressive tactics right from the very start of the game there. You can see them both coming over to try and attack us and maybe catch one of our armies running over to form up in the centre there. If they could catch them in the flank, then that would have been their aim there, I would think. As you can see, this horse missile unit is moving around the flank there. But if you notice there, my ally, I think it's Cormac there, is charging over towards the enemy straight away. We're not retreating, we're actually being aggressive and, if you like, counter-attacking their charge there. If you notice, I'm running my infantry over. I know that Scorpion King is going to have to retreat his cavalry. There's no way he's going to leave them stood there to get pile of damage. So he'll be backing them off pretty quick. Knowing this, I'm starting to move forward with my infantry. My cavalry is just behind my infantry here, as both Cormac and myself move forward, trying to get a bit of an advantage here with our counter-attack on the enemy. My guess is they probably expected us to carry on forming up in the centre, and for us to counter-attack like this is probably quite surprising there. You can see the Armenian cavalry they are trying to retreat, or their infantry, but we're going to hit them now. Try and you can see Mohammed's brought some of his units up there to actually stop there. If you can see the Armenian cavalry and infantry there are charging into our cavalry, and there's a bit of a melee battle there carry on. But what I'd like to draw your attention to is here, as that cavalry battle is ensuing there at the front of our armies, can you see that one of the enemy armies has glitched? Right, I'm just going to pause the game here for us to look at this. Can you see, new players watching this, can you see how this army is basically disintegrated? This is what we call a glitch, and the army disintegrates basically and spreads all over the battlefield. Can you see how this happens? And we get lots of glitching happening in battles. And you might not believe this, but some people deliberately attack glitched armies just to get cheap kills. And of course, it's very unsportsmanlike, and you know, it kind of makes the player who's glitched that gets attacked feel like leaving the game. So if you notice here that now that the glitch has been called and everybody can see the glitch, you'll notice that the Brotherhood team now will no longer attack. We've just pulled back. That's it now. We've got no thoughts of attack at all. We're just going to wait for the glitch to kind of be fixed. Luckily for, I think it's Mohammed that's army that's glitched, but if you notice that, luckily for him, his army is disintegrated at the rear of his own line, so he hasn't got men running into our units that are likely to be killed. So when the glitch is fixed, he's going to have most of his army, the vast majority of his army will be back intact. But I just wanted to show you this on the battlefield, how bad glitching can be for any new players that maybe not have seen a bad glitch. You see, a lot of Mohammed's army is actually reformed, but as I say, that's why we talked about this new rule at the beginning of this game, that banning any attacks at all on the battlefield once an army has been glitched. As I said before, a glitched general cannot send support or reinforcements to his teammates on the battlefield, so attacking them would be unsportsmanlike, I think. So that's why we decided to put this rule in. And I'm glad this glitch happened in this game, so we can show you how bad a glitch can be and how you should respond to the enemy having a glitched army, and that is by not attacking and just kind of sitting back and waiting for the glitch to be fixed. As I say, those of you that have had a glitched army and have been deliberately attacked by an enemy cavalry or anything like that, you know how bad it is. So I hope you all agree with this new rule we're bringing in. At this stage of the battle, you can see that SR is bringing his cataphract tank cavalry round to our left flank here. I don't know whether he's going to have a view to smash into the rear of some of our infantry or something like that, but he's definitely bringing his cavalry round to our left, maybe just as a threatening gesture there to try and draw some of our forces over to that left flank there. As you can see there, Cormac's moved forward a little bit there. And there we go at the back. Can you see that now SR is charging his cataphract tank cavalry into our cavalry at the back here? Now on the face of it, his cavalry looks extremely isolated, and I'm not sure, maybe there was some kind of tactic there. Maybe he wanted to draw all our cavalry away here so that his allies could attack our armies. I'm not sure. Or maybe he was thinking that maybe his allies' cavalry might come over as well. As I say, it may well have just been a distraction to draw our cavalry away there, but even his fully upgraded cavalry won't last long against all our cavalry attacking it there. You see it over on our right flank here. The enemy have brought a flanking action round to our right flank here, forcing Brotherhood member Lion Dwarf to split his army. Can you see how he's halved his army? Bringing some units up to face the attack on the right, whilst leaving units to face the army facing him at the front. As you can see now, I think the Armenian general has just been killed there. Armenian morale is not that good anyway, so for its general to be killed would be even worse for their morale now. As you can see here, Mohammed has moved his army forward here. One of my teammates, I can't remember which one it was, had told me to pull back for some reason, thinking that there was some kind of strategic reason. I pulled my infantry back, and then next thing I know is, sorry Spartan, mistake. So I'm now putting my infantry forward again there to face Mohammed's army. As you can see here over on the right flank, you can see our cavalry charging into the enemy Scipii infantry here. Bang! As that cavalry hits. But remember, we're up against infantry that were facing us there, so I don't want to leave my cavalry too long in the fray there. What I want to do is hit, get the full cav charge bonus, and then pull my cavalry out. I don't want to hang about fighting infantry that is there. As you can see, the enemy infantry now are starting to some units are starting to charge after my cavalry there. If you notice here on our right flank, things are not looking that good for the Brotherhood team here on the right flank. So it'll be interesting to see how things develop there. Lots of enemy troops. It looks like we've lost a lot of our units on that side. Meanwhile, over on our left flank here, you can see that Titan's Mohammed is aggressively attacking my army here. My guess is here he'll take his cavalry around the flank, as he knows my cavalry is on the other flank there, helping my allies. My guess is he'll take his cavalry around the flank with a view to charge his cavalry into the rear of my my infantry there. As you can see, he's wheeling his cavalry on round. Just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. As I said, here on our left flank, you see that Titan's Mohammed is attacking my army very aggressively and taking cavalry units out round the back there, ready to, my guess is either to charge into the flank or the rear of my engaged infantry there. Over on our right flank here, you can see that we've still got our cavalry, a lot of our cavalry there, but you can see that I think Brotherhood member Lion Dwarf there is up against a lot of enemy Scipii units there. I can see Brotherhood member Killer has sent units over to help him as well. If you notice in this battle, Killer has sent support units all over the battlefield. New players watching this is all about teamwork. These team games are all about teamwork. Helping your teammates out, sending reinforcements where needed. And that's what Killer is showing here. He's leaving enough units to face the enemy in front of him, but he's sending units off to help his allies. So as I say, there's the general overview of the battle so far, and as you can see, I think it could go either way, although over on our right flank I don't think things are looking all that good for us. As I say now, I'm expecting the enemy Scipii cavalry to charge into the rear of my infantry as I'm being attacked aggressively at the front. I think I've spotted the enemy cavalry in behind my cavalry, so I'm now sending my cavalry over to engage this enemy cavalry, hopefully before they can charge into the back of my infantry. As you can see, my cavalry now is engaging the enemy Scipii cavalry. I'm hoping to get as many as I can before they charge, but no, The Scipii cavalry units are now charging into the back of my units. My guess is they're going to go for my general as they charge in. So now that's a bit of a sandwich there. You can see the cavalry coming at the back and the infantry coming at the front. I'm now sending my cavalry in to try and sandwich that Scipii cavalry between my infantry and my cavalry. They're trying to rout as many as I can. As you can see, a lot of the Scipii cavalry are now starting to rout with themselves, finding themselves sandwiched between my cavalry and my infantry. But if you notice that Mohammed's aggressive attack there is really making inroads into my infantry. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, you can see that a lot of our allies' Julii units are starting to rout from the numbers and the impact of the enemy Scipii infantry and cavalry here over on the right. Not looking very good for us on the right here. As you can see, I'm taking my infantry round to the rear of Mohammed's attacking infantry here. We're just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of what's happening. Can you see here that I'm just taking my cavalry round with a view to smash into the back of Mohammed's engaged infantry, so it would have been a hammer and anvil attack, my infantry being the anvil and my cavalry being the hammer. But Mohammed's seen this and he's disengaged his infantry and are pulling them back from my infantry. Meanwhile, in the centre here, you can see that Cormac, with support from Killer B, is managing to hold the centre there. But once again, you can see we have not got a lot of units left here. And once again, over to our right here, right centre, you can see that the enemy are doing extremely well there. It looks to me like our right flank has basically collapsed here. After a fierce battle on the right flank, it looks like we've basically collapsed there. So, let's say at this stage of the battle, I think... as I say, it's not looking very good for the Brotherhood team here. The enemy seem to be so numerous on our right flank here. All they need to do is bring them over, and I think we could bring them over to the centre or over to the other flank, and we could be in trouble. Let's see what happens next. As you can see, Mohammed's disengaging his infantry from my infantry, so I'm going to charge my cavalry into them anyway. If you notice that Killer's bringing up some SBQR units from the other side as well, so we're trying to attack. I'm also running my infantry forward, attacking them as well. So we're trying to give as many casualties as we can to Mohammed's army there. Meanwhile, back into the centre, you can see that Cormac is still really holding well there, along with Killer B's support. And we're still managing to have a couple of units over on that right centre side over there, still managing to hold a little bit here. But at this stage of the battle, you can see on the left hand side there that Mohammed's pulled what's left of his infantry back. But my priority now is not necessarily to fight him. What I need to do now is to take my infantry over to my allies, because that's where the real danger of us losing the battle is, over there. Remember what I've said to you about supporting your allies, getting support reinforcements over to the critical parts of the battlefield there. So I'm not too bothered about fighting what's left of Mohammed's army here on the left. What I want to do is get my main bulk of my army over to my allies. Just going to pause the game here. As you can see, now what I'm doing is I'm running the main bulk of my army over to help my allies, but I can see Mohammed's units are still kind of shadowing me. So I don't want to waste too many of my army units on what's left of his army. So I'm going to throw out a couple of units at his army there, in the hope that those couple of units will attract all his units to attack, leaving the bulk of my force to be able to move on round and help my allies here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to throw out a couple of my infantry units there in the hope that Mohammed would just attack them, and I can move the bulk of my force. And there you go. There's 2 units I've just thrown out there. As I say, if you like sacrificial lambs, whatever you want to call them, they're there just to hold up what's left of Mohammed's infantry while I move the bulk of my force around to help my allies. If you notice, I'm charging my cavalry in as well, and bang, what's left of my cavalry charge in there. They're all very battle damaged, but they still might be able to make a difference. If you notice that the enemy general has just been routed, so of course those of you that's watched other battle videos of mine will know that if the enemy general is routed, his troops' morale will drop. As you see, looking on the battlefield, there's still a lot of enemy Scipii infantry left, but being able to bring my my forces over to help my allies there has helped considerably. I've still got my cavalry left. They're very, very battle damaged and not a lot of units left, but bearing in mind that the enemy units are very battle damaged too, I would think just even a small cavalry hit might be just enough to tip the balance there and start routing the enemy units there. And bang, as those battle damaged cavalry units hit home. Can you see how it's just that little momentum of the cavalry hit there has just managed to help rout the last of the enemy infantry there in that particular part of the battlefield. If you notice that Scorpion King still got his archer units that he's been remorselessly firing those fire arrows into our troops there. As you know, fire arrows lowers morale, so he's been keeping those archers in close formation, really peppering us with fire arrows there, lowering our morale. So I think looking on the battlefield now, his troops, these archer units are the last of the enemy troops still left alive, I think, from what I can see.
The enemy general is slain, and now his men fear us.
As you can see, we're sending our cavalry over to finish off the last of these enemy troops here. Do you notice as the cavalry hits, even though they're battle damaged cavalry units, they still throw a lot of the archer men in the units up in the air with the impact of the cavalry hit there.
By the decree of fate, perhaps, but victory all the same.
As you can see, looking at the dead on the battlefield, it's quite a spread out battlefield here. It's a big battle there. It wasn't just in one or two places, it was battling all over the battlefield there. First thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. I thought the other team played extremely well there. Some big cavalry hits, some big infantry hits, and some really great subtle tactical moves as well by the other team. Really well played by them. And I'd like to say really well played to Killer, Lion Dwarf and Cormac, who I thought showed their experience there and who played extremely well. Especially I'd like to say Killer there. If you notice, his units were all over the battlefield. He was sending units to support his teammates everywhere he was, so really well done to Killer. As I say, Cormac held really well at the front there, being hit in the flank by cavalry and infantry, and really well done to Lion Dwarf on that right flank. He did amazingly, holding as long as he could there, so really well done to them. This is Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.